And it's us, the Horror Guys.
Once again.
Yeah.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian.
And we're going to talk about some horror movies and some shorts.
5 movies, 5 shorts. That's 10 horrible things for your listening pleasure.
But they're not horrible. They're all very good this week. We didn't have any. Didn't have any that we hated on.
I think there was one of the shorts.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
One of those was too dark.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that shortly.
Yeah, as far as our regular movies, we've got 2 very serious ones, 2 very silly ones, and one that you could go either way with.
Yeah. Campy kind of classic or classic kind of campy or... Yeah.
Well, what exactly do we have?
Well, the campy classic that we mentioned is 1951's The Man from Planet X.
Oh, that is just
Alien
weird.
Invasion.
It's entertaining, but it's kind of awful, too.
Yeah, it's both at the same time. Yeah. The brand new Sinners just came out this year. And also another new one, Cannibal Mukbang.
Okay, what?
Mukbang.
What?
Mukbang is a Asian genre of influencers, selfie video people who record themselves, and it's usually attractive young women eating food, often in large quantities or, sometimes messy about it. But mukbang is a genre of watching people eat.
Okay.
Yeah. As a, video entertainment.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
And then we got a couple comedy horrors. Hot Fuzz from 2007, which is pushing it to
Less
call it
horror than I was expecting.
Yeah, yeah. And Tucker and Dale versus Evil from 2010.
Mega classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And 5 shorts.
And 5 shorts.
All of these are brought to you, of course, by the Horror Guys Guides, which you can find at horrormonthly.com. Click at the little button at the top for Horror Guys Guides. Got the complete horror filmography of Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, Boris Karloff. Who else?
Many others.
Vincent Price.
Vincent Price. Did you say Peter Cushing?
I did.
Okay.
I think there's more than that.
There is more
There's
than
like
that.
9 of them, or 10 of them
Peter
now.
Lorre.
No, just the biography of Peter Lorre.
Oh, okay. See, you got so many books
Yeah.
that you don't even know.
Well, if you're interested in biographies, we got all those same guys, plus Peter Lorre and Bela Lugosi and both Lon Chaney's, H.P. Lovecraft, Alfred Hitchcock, Ed Gein, the serial killer, who really doesn't fit in with the others. But I was going to do a serial killer series and then decided, nah, that's no fun.
No, they're not.
Movie people are better.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and again, go to horrormonthly.com and click on those menus up at the top and explore around. Of course, you get all 45 issues of Horror Monthly magazine there, but I like the books best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I suppose you're here to hear about some movies, so let's start off with the big one first. Sinners from 2025. Written and directed by Ryan Coogler, stars Michael B. Jordan, Miles Caton, and Saul Williams. 2 hours and 17 minutes is the longest thing we're going to watch this week. And if you know nothing about it, there's a trailer in the show notes.
Dance with the Devil, says the poster. There is some dancing in it.
There is.
Yeah.
There's some weirdness in this besides just normal horror stuff.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Really, really.
Spoiler free.
Well, it's very much a humanity and period drama with some magic and horror in the background. It's almost how it felt, especially it takes a long time to get to the horror.
It's very normal drama for the first 40, 50 minutes at least.
And there's some implications of magic, but more of a superstition level of, that probably isn't really real. It's just a thing that people believe. But the magic does get...
Oh, it gets there.
It gets real, yeah. Things get crazy toward the second half. We thought the cast and direction and music, especially the music, and the effects were all excellent. It's kind of on the long side, but we thought it was worth it.
Yeah, it builds up the drama before the horror. So
I've seen
it has
complaints, people complaining about that it was too long, but I thought that was fine. It built up nicely, and I never got bored.
Well, you get very easily from the trailer that it's a vampire movie. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people are expecting coffins and, nonstop blood action. And it's more drama than... It's a normal drama that switches channels halfway through into a horror movie.
Yeah, set in the 30s, early 30s. And period piece.
In the South.
And so impressed with... they've come a long way since Dead Ringers, and I think that might be the... Well, of course, there were earlier ones
Dual
that
roles
did
have been
it,
going for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, a single actor playing twins. and the effects they can do on that is just so impressive now. It's just so flawless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was... Michael B. Jordan is playing two brothers, Smoke and Stack. You can't tell them apart by looking at them, but they've got their own different personalities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different way of dressing, different style.
Yeah. Well, it's 1932 in Clarksdale, Mississippi. A man with a broken guitar walks into a church, and the preacher gets really upset, changing the sermon to talk about men who are full of sin. Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants Sammy to give up his sinful ways. And then we get flashes of violence and blood.
And then we flash back.
Yeah, what led to this? Well, we flash back to the cotton farm where all the black people work in the fields. I remember, of course, this is 1930s, so slavery is long over.
But there's still hints of it.
It's not that far away.
It's Mississippi, and the racism is still strong. Yeah.
We then cut again to two brothers, Smoke and Stack, who are all dressed up in the fancy car. These are not cotton workers. Mr. Hogwood shows up and shows them some property.
A white guy. Who just smells of Klan. I mean, you look at him and you think, oh, he's a Klan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the salesman of the property, though.
Who's that cartoon rooster?
Foghorn Leghorn?
Why do these southern guys always remind me of Foghorn Leghorn?
Because that's kind of who he was patterned after.
Yeah.
Less racist. But, yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I don't think Foghorn Leghorn was actually racist. I don't remember
racist,
anything like that, but it's been like 50 years since I've seen any of it.
They might have thrown in some subtle jokes about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the type of character.
Yeah.
It gets a little tense, but anyway, they've got a bag full of money, and they buy their land.
And literally a bag full of money.
Yeah.
Hands him, here's
Here,
cash.
take this and go away.
It's ours, go away. And if we see you again, or any of your Klan people, we're going to shoot you.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sammy argues with his preacher father about going out for the evening. He just wants to go to this place one night. He said he'll be back in the morning for the sermon.
Wants to hang out with Smoke and Stack for the day.
Yep.
And the night.
Pastor says, you keep going out with the devil. Sooner or later, you're going to bring him home. Because you get the feeling he's never done this before, and this is the first time, and the father is totally overreacting. Well, he goes off with Stack and Smoke, saying he'll be back for service tomorrow. They've got big plans for the day and the night to follow.
Yeah, and it took... I had to stop and realize after... This all just takes place in one day and night.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
It seems like a longer span of time, but no, this is just, yeah.
They had a very busy day.
They pick up Sammy, and they put things, they bought the thing in the morning, pick up Sammy, and put together a juke joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the three are planning, like you said, on putting a juke joint together with lots of drinking at the old sawmill they just bought. It does come together very quickly, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Stack runs into Mary, an old jilted lover, and a white-looking woman as well, so she could be trouble. The harmonica player, Delta Slim, tells a story about why black folks should not get too successful. You get too good, they take it away.
Yeah, and there's discussion, I think a little bit there and more later, too. Mary has been passing as white. It's a plot point.
Yeah, it's a point.
Yeah.
Smoke then goes to see Annie about cooking at the juke joint tonight, and they have a long history together. And she's kind of, I'm not going to say voodoo, but, into the...
Heavily into the magic and the charms.
Local magic stuff, yeah.
Yeah, healing medicines and herbs and stuff like that, yeah.
We get a montage of everyone setting up for the party, including all the cooking. Elsewhere, a dirty-looking, injured white man beats on a door and asks a white couple for shelter from the Choctaws. He offers them money to let them inside.
Gold pieces.
And they let him in. A short while later, an actual Choctaw scout with others show up and says he's looking for a dangerous man who's not what he seems. The woman there lies and says she hasn't seen him. They soon leave, and the strange man kills the couple, who should have never invited him inside.
Mm-hmm.
Before long, all three of them are clearly vampires.
He changed them.
Yeah, we're going to stop there.
Yeah. The main vampire is Remick, an Irish guy.
Yeah.
Who's been around a while.
Yeah. The vampires here are kind of like you're used to, but they're also kind of a little bit different.
Yeah, there's enough differences to really make it interesting.
The vampire effects toward the end are really good, but they're not overbearing through the rest of the film. You don't get a lot of, flying around or changing into bats or that kind of special effect. It's just...
A little bit.
Toothy monsters.
There is a quick flash of Remick flying at one point.
He takes off, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of vampire story that makes you wonder how there aren't already billions of vampires all over the world.
I think he just shows restraint.
He didn't show restraint here.
Well, no, but he knew what he wanted. He was going to change and get a clan, and that's clan with a C. Not the
With
clan.
this movie, you got to specify.
Yeah, not the clan with a K.
It's got a big budget, and the historical setting and context seemed just about perfect to me. It's really slow getting to the action bits. There's only one quick scene about the vampires that I just told you about in the first 70 minutes. So, yeah, that happens, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes in, and then we get a lot more drama.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more a period drama than anything else, but once the sun goes down, it gets pretty crazy.
Yeah, it does.
There's two musical numbers in this.
Mm-hmm.
One with
Two
the
main
Irish
ones,
people
yeah.
later on, and one with the black people early on. And it's
When
very
Sammy is
magical
playing.
realism in this. I mean, it's all the usual 1930s two people dancing and doing their, dancing around with the music. And then suddenly you get rappers, geishas, Indian chiefs, all these people in weird period costumes, modern looking, dancing with them. And then when the music stops, they all go away.
Well, the one guy was talking about the magic of music. And music being timeless, echoing to the past and the future, and I think they just played that up.
The blues is timeless.
I don't know as if the people were literally seeing.
No, I don't think they were. No, that was for our benefit.
Yeah, it was.
But it was odd, and it stood out because there really wasn't much else of that.
Well, I saw a discussion in some trivia too. There's a Chinese-owned grocery store in town.
Yeah,
and they're freely accepted by the black folks, and they're the couple that owns the grocery are there at the party too. And among the historical black figures from the past and the future, I mean the 1932 future, there are some Chinese dancers and musicians too. And the implication is that it triggers the magic in the listener. It wasn't really necessarily Sammy's magic, it was the listeners that hearing the music.
Yeah, I don't think any of the characters are really magic here.
No.
Other than the vampires, obviously.
Yeah. But, explaining why it wasn't just black folks. It was Chinese dancers, too, because they were there.
Yeah, I liked it, but I think there should have been maybe more of that so it didn't stand out so much.
Yeah.
That was the only scene. Well, there's one scene where all the vampires are doing the Irish jig, which I thought was a little ridiculous.
I thought that was awesome.
That kind of fits in with the lore of the story. That doesn't necessarily mean... That wasn't necessarily just for our benefit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, it's long, but it's really excellent.
Yeah.
And... Yeah, I'm going to say favorite of the week easily.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Although the next one, on a normal week, would probably be my favorite of the week. It was pretty good, too.
It was, yeah. Really good.
2023's Cannibal Mukbang.
And this is one that we're calling 2025 because it just became available.
Yeah, it just came to streaming. I don't know where it was before, but you may have seen it in festivals or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Written and directed by Amy Coog. Stars April Kinsella, Nate Wise, and Clay Von Karlowitz. Hour and 44 minutes, so it's fairly long too. And there's a trailer in the show notes. Spoiler free, how much would you put up with in a relationship?
Yeah.
This movie takes the question to the extreme. The cast is good, the script is well written, and the effects are realistic. It's heavy on strange romance with a heavy dose of gore and horror. And we both liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. What happens?
Well, it starts out with Mark, who's staring at a redhead in a convenience store. And he finds a way to talk to her, but he's too shy to stick around. It's just incredibly awkward, and he quickly leaves the store and immediately gets hit by a car.
Oops.
Yeah. Well, he wakes up at the redhead's house. She's Ash, and she's the one who hit him. This does have some dark humor in it.
Oh,
too,
yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Yeah. Well, she feeds him, and it's delicious. They have nachos and with meat and toppings. And she's fascinated by the metal plate in his head that he's had since he was a kid.
And he just walks around with his metal spot showing
And
the
it's
side of his head.
exposed.
You grow hair over that normally.
You would think so, yeah. But she affectionately refers to him as brain damage as a nickname.
I don't believe that ever actually becomes important in this plot. It's just
No.
something about the character.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Mark works in customer service, and Ash eats stuff online while people watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a mukbanger.
Yeah, and he knows all about mukbanging since he watches it all the time. And they have a good time, and she drives him home.
It's a normal first date.
Yeah.
Other than getting hit by the car.
Yeah, but he wasn't too badly injured. So, well, Mark's job isn't much fun. He watches Ash's videos and then fantasizes about her, but he's weird about it, cutting off his nose in a fantasy. It's like a worship.
What would you do to prove your love for me?
Yeah, so he cuts his own nose off. Mark's older brother, Maverick, gives Mark some bad advice about women. He's clearly no expert.
He's one of those gung-ho, grind-set type of guys who, he works 40 hours a day and bangs 17 women an hour. And, he's that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. He's got advice on everything.
Yep. Well, Ash finally gets back in touch with Mark and invites him over. She's made a blanket fort. It's really cozy and romantic. And he explains that as a hobby, he writes horror movie reviews.
Oh, come on, who does that?
Yeah, who would do that as a hobby? Yeah. When she's impressed, and they talk about where they came from, and this leads to kissing and lots more talking. They seem to be getting along great. Well, another date, Mark takes Ash to a vegan place, and she doesn't look happy about that. She's kind of rude and distracted through the whole date. And then a creepy-looking guy comes in, and Ash looks worried. And she warns Mark that you need to leave now, and kicks him out.
Yeah, get out quick.
Yeah. Well...
for a while, I thought maybe he was going to turn out to be her pimp or something like that.
Yeah, I was wondering.
That's the way he kind of looks like it, and the kind of the way they act.
Yeah. Well, Mark is understandably morose about this. He goes to a park and hangs out and accidentally watches as Ash and the creepy guy come along, and he attacks Ash. He's about to hit her, and she reaches up, breaks the guy's arm in half, and then she bites the man in the throat and kills him as Mark walks up to talk.
Hey, you're eating him.
You're eating him, he says. But he offers to help her move the body.
Yeah, and that's a good place to stop.
Yeah, it's awkward, but he's he likes her. He likes her a lot.
It's a strange romance.
It is. Yeah.
It's very slow getting to the action, but it does eventually get there. We kind of saw the so-called twist coming long before it did.
Don't say that. Yeah, that's too much of a spoiler.
We saw a twist coming, and we were right.
Yeah.
It's an allegory for toxic relationships, but it's still fun. It's almost more of a romantic drama than a horror film, but it's got cannibalism and gore, so it's got that working for it.
Yeah, it does.
And it ended up with the bad guy getting away, which is not going to end well for Ash. But we don't see any of the fallout for that, and I think we should have seen something, even if it's just an after-credit scene.
Yeah, I thought...
It ended a little abruptly.
It was a little abrupt. It didn't quite satisfy at the end, but overall, very good.
Yeah, definitely good.
Yeah, would recommend.
Second favorite of the week.
Yeah, me too.
All right, and now for our not even remotely horror, but we got tricked into it anyway, 2007's Hot Fuzz, directed by Edgar Wright, written by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, stars Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Martin Freeman. 2 hours and 1 minute. Are they all long this week, aren't they?
I like how it stars Martin Freeman, and he's in like 1 minute at the beginning.
Yeah. That's IMDb for you.
Uh-huh.
Spoiler free.
It's a cop buddy action mystery thriller comedy with just a teeny pinch of horror in
There's
it.
a cult and murderers. And
there is.
Yeah.
It's got a cult, a death cult, and a decent body count, but mostly it's got lots of laughs. And it is a decent mystery. Pieces in the mystery come together, and it's a pretty clever script.
Don't watch it for the scares, though.
But don't watch it for the horror elements, no. But
there are horror elements, but there's nothing even remotely scary about any of this.
It's very fun, yeah.
Nicholas Angel introduces himself. We see that he's some kind of super cop, excelling at everything. He's so good, he makes all the other cops look bad, so they transfer him to a tiny little town out in the country. You know those quaint little British countryside towns that nothing wrong ever goes wrong in?
Except
in horror movies?
Unless you watch BBC.
Also, they're not going to take no for an answer. He tells his ex, Janine, who doesn't really care, since he cares more about his job than anything else, including her.
Mm-hmm.
So Nicholas moves to Sanford, a quiet village in the English countryside. He's not thrilled to be there. He goes to the pub and meets the porters, the owners, as well as PC Danny Butterman. He immediately starts causing trouble when he finds a bunch of underage drinkers in the pub. He starts throwing out one and another, and then the whole place is empty.
And then there's no customers, and the pub guys are not happy about that.
It's their entire clientele.
Yeah.
He's maybe a little overzealous for this kind of a posting.
Mm-hmm.
In the morning, he meets Simon Skinner, who owns one of the big stores in town. Oh, look, it's Timothy Dalton with an evil-looking mustache. Who's the villain in this movie, do you suppose?
Yeah, who do you suppose? Yeah.
Next, he goes to the station and meets Inspector Butterman, his new boss, who says this is the safest village in the country. He meets all the other cops, who show him that things aren't the same outside the city. They're a bunch of slackers.
Yeah, pretty much. And there are numerous cops. It's not a teeny tiny, one cop
Yeah,
station.
it's not a really little village, but it's not a lot.
Decent sized, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and it's quite a while before we get to the good stuff, but he's a fish out of water in this little town, and he meets a lot of weird characters. They got a very strange neighborhood watch, and, stuff goes on.
And people start dying.
Regularly.
And
a lot of them.
At first they look like accidents, and he's suspicious, but nobody believes that they aren't accidents.
It's a murder. There are no murders here, ever.
But he starts seeing connections, and then they stop being subtle about, seeming like accidents.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's not an accident.
Well, Nicholas's super cop has no sense of humor, and not much of a personality either, and he almost immediately reminded me of the main character in The Wicker Man from 1973, which is probably not a coincidence.
Probably not. Yeah.
Stuck-up, uptight cop goes to this remote English village and has to deal with the weird locals. Doesn't end the same, though. Well,
No.
There's a cult, isn't there?
There is a cult.
Yeah, there's a connection. There has to
There's
be.
a death cult, yeah.
Timothy Dalton, as Skinner, was an obvious villain, but also sort of a red herring, since there's more to it than just that. Other than Dalton, there are lots of familiar faces here, so that's a lot of fun in itself. It's like, oh, that's that guy. I know him. Wasn't he in Game of Thrones? No, he was in the Rings of Power. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Still, there's very little horror here. There is a serial killer who wears a black robe and looks like death, as well as a whole group of cultists and witches. It's very good, but don't watch it as a horror movie.
Yeah. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost have teamed up for a number of movies. I think this is my favorite of theirs.
Okay.
They've all been good, but this
I've seen
this
it
one
twice. I've seen Shaun of the Dead twice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I've seen World's End or not. Is there
Okay.
another one you're thinking of?
Isn't there another one out there too?
There might be.
Yeah.
I don't really follow
okay.
them that closely.
It's not occurring to me right now, but yeah.
Well, one that Simon Pegg was not in.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil from 2010. Directed by Eli Craig and Morgan Jurgensen. Stars Tyler Labine, Alan Tudyk, and Katrina Bowden. Hour and 29 minutes. Trailer in the show notes. Yeah, I don't think Alan Tudyk had been in anything before this that I remember.
No, I didn't.
And he's like
either.
one of the biggest stars in Hollywood right now.
Uh-huh.
Spoiler free, it's an excellent horror comedy. Takes the idea that killer hillbillies in a horror movie might actually be the misunderstood good guys. And a lot of it in these horror movies always depends on your point of view, but this one is especially bloody and violent and very fun.
Yeah, it is.
I think this might be my favorite horror comedy. It's up there.
It's right up there. It's really good.
How do we start?
Well, we cut to a couple of true crime podcasters, and they're both very quickly killed. The credits roll as we shift to a car full of teenagers in West Virginia. Chad makes a hillbilly joke. Their car is passed by two sketchy-looking rednecks in a pickup truck.
They're very sketchy looking.
They are. When they stop to buy beer, those same two guys are there. It all looks very deliverance-y.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Bum, 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 bum.
At the store, Tucker and Dale, the hillbillies, admire the young college students. Dale likes the girls, but he doesn't have the self-confidence to go over and talk to them. And Tucker finally talks him into it, and he walks over to the girls while he's absent-mindedly carrying a huge sigh.
It's like 8 feet tall and 3 feet wide, and I mean, you could kill the whole group with one swipe.
Yeah, and and Tucker, advises him, just relax and smile and laugh. And so he stands there and he's got this ridiculous smile and this nervous laugh and barely says anything, can choke out anything because he's so nervous.
Looks like a crazy man.
Talking to the pretty girls. And yeah, it doesn't go well. But all the kids think he's some kind of maniac. Well, Tucker talks to Dale about his self-confidence problem. We soon see that the guys are really deep into the region of it's not what it looks like when they get pulled over by a cop.
Yeah, he drops his beer can under the car seat and has to reach down for it. His hand gets stuck, and the cop walks over, and Dale's got his face in Tucker's lap, and yeah, he gets the complete wrong idea.
Yeah, not what it looks like. Yeah. Well, they get to the vacation home that Tucker just bought. It's quite a fixer-upper.
Yeah, that's what they call it too.
Yeah, it's a cabin in the woods to be sure.
Yeah, and a lot of hilarity ensues when the kids. But I'm getting a little ahead of things. What about this house?
Oh, there's bones hanging around. It looks like it might have been the former home of a serial killer family or
Better
something.
be. There's news clippings about the serial killers all over the walls.
News clippings, and there's
death traps.
All kinds of, and there's booby traps, and But they're very pleased with their new home, and it's perfect.
Completely ignorant about what they've stumbled into.
Uh-huh.
Could this be a serial killer's house? No, it never occurs to them.
Well, meanwhile, not far away, Chad and the gang talk about the Memorial Day massacre 20 years ago that happened right here.
Pre-credit sequence.
And we get a flashback to when all that happened. It's like every serial killer in the woods movie we've ever seen. So they're on edge, thinking, well, Dale and Tucker are out on the lake fishing, and the campers come and go skinny dipping. And one of the girls has an accident, hits her head, and Dale rescues her. One of the campers sees this, and Dale yells, "We've got your friend!" And they totally misunderstand.
Kidnapping.
Yeah. Oh my God, they've got her. They all run away.
Okay, and we'll stop there because the rest of the movie is basically just all these misunderstandings.
Yeah.
It's all a comedy of misunderstanding, of course, but it uses all the horror movie tropes. The gore and death are really well done. They're always funny. The funniest deaths ever.
Mm-hmm.
It uses all the killer in the woods tropes, but it's totally turned around since here the kids are the bad ones. Or at least they're... At least the hillbillies aren't.
You're right, yeah.
Tucker and Dale are hilarious, and we absolutely should have had a dozen sequels by now. It's very possibly my favorite horror comedy.
Yeah, it's really excellent.
It
Lots
is
of
a
laughs.
crime we have not seen more of Tucker and Dale.
I liked it even better. This was my second viewing.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, they're perfectly cast. Yeah, such a good movie.
All right. Now one that could be a good movie or could be the worst thing you've seen this week. 1951's The Men from Planet X. Directed by Edward G. Ulmer. Written by Aubrey Weisberg and Jack Pollexfen.
That's a name.
That's something.
There's a science fiction name right there.
Pollexfen. Stars Robert Clark, Margaret Field, and Raymond Bonks. I wonder if that's a typo.
I don't think it is.
B-O-N-X.
I will look.
1 hour and 11 minutes. There is a trailer in the show notes. And the poster says it is the weirdest visitor the Earth has ever seen. That might even be true.
That might be. Well, it's mainly a classic example of early 1950s science fiction, but it does have some horror elements. It's got some alien scares and perils from space and conniving humans.
It's a sci-fi horror movie, and that creature definitely qualifies as a monster.
It is certainly dated, but but that adds to the fun, I thought, and we enjoyed the watch.
It's quaint.
It's quaint, yeah.
In the dark castle on the hill, a man wonders what happened to the girl and her father. We don't know who they're talking about. He expects that he'll be dead by morning as well, but he intends to fight. He says he's a reporter, and he writes down his story about meeting a man from Planet X face to face. And we flash back.
And going back, it is Raymond Bond, not
Bond.
Bonks.
Okay.
Yes.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
Bonks would be cool, but that's a little too sci-fi.
Yeah.
A new planet has arrived from nowhere, and it's all very mysterious. I don't think planets work like that.
And there's some bad science.
John Lawrence and Professor Blaine talk about the mysteries from the sky. The new planet isn't going to collide with Earth, but it's going to come really close. Professor Elliot discovered the new world, and he's gone to Bury Island, the place that's going to be closest to the new planet. You know, if a planet is going to pass that close to the Earth, whether you're on that island or somewhere else, isn't going to make that much difference. You're not going to reach out and touch it.
You're going to see it in the sky.
John goes to the remote Scottish island where Elliot is staying. He's met by Enid, the professor's daughter. They drive up to the old castle on the hill, where he meets Elliot and Dr. Mears, whom John doesn't like. Mears just showed up 2 weeks ago, one of Elliot's former students. And he did something sketchy in the past that nobody likes. Elliot admits he's not sure what's going to happen, as the planet gets really close in a few days. We've seen that movie, haven't we?
When Worlds Collide.
Melancholia? Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, Melancholia. Yeah, that happened.
John and Enid go for a walk on the foggy moors, and John likes what he sees and all the meanings of the word. They find a strange metal thing on the ground that looks like a bomb or a missile. Dr. Elliot can't explain what it is either, but he thinks it may have come from outer space, as the metal is unknown. Mears points out how important that metal could be to science and his bank account.
Yes, if he was to cash in on that, for instance.
After dropping John off at the inn in town, Enid gets a flat tire on the foggy old country road. She sees a flashing light out on the moor and finds a space rocket that has landed out there. She looks in the window and sees an alien face inside. She screams and runs all the way back to the castle. All right, well, there's an alien that crashed in the moor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What does he want? What do they want from him?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, the 1950s were known for their atomic horrors and flying saucer movies. But this is one of the early ones. It was very influential of what followed. There was a lot of sci-fi movies came out this very year.
Yeah, it was a good one. I actually made a note of that. The Day the Earth Stood Still, The Thing from Another World, and When Worlds Collide were all that same year, too.
All classics.
Yeah.
Even this one I would say is a classic.
I'd throw it in there, yeah.
We don't know what Mears did back in the day for John to distrust him, but the feeling is obvious. Any planet that, of course, we know today, any planet that came that close to Earth would be a much bigger deal than the film suggests.
Yes, it would.
Also, we don't know for sure at the end what the creature's motivations were. Was he here to invade us or just explore? Mears is the only death in the film, and the soldiers did that, so the alien doesn't really kill anybody.
He would, though. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the alien is possibly the least emotive creature ever filmed. It's just a fixed, unmoving, unblinking head inside a glass helmet. No moving mouth, blinking eyes, or anything. Like a big papier-mâché thing, almost.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
Guess that does kind of make it pretty alien, because it's not at all even remotely human. The acting is good, the pacing is fine, but the alien does make it a little hard to take it kind of seriously.
It's either one to relax and enjoy for what it is, or sit and make fun of.
It's
Depends
quaint.
on the mood.
It's quaint.
The mood you're in.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was fun for the time.
It was fun.
It would not hold up today.
Oh, certainly not, no.
Well, the story might hold up today. Well, no. I mean, there's just, even the idea of the planet coming close is just, no.
Oh, come on. They've done that in more than one movie and got away with it.
Yeah, what? Recently? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Melancholia, the one you mentioned, got away with it. And
That didn't just pass close, though.
No, no. It sucked away part of the atmosphere, even. And
I thought the entire planet blew up. They crashed, didn't they?
yeah, eventually.
It's been a couple years.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was was it called Another Earth? Was that the name of the movie?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That was a different story.
But that was like a
Parallel universe
dimensional
kind of
thing. Yeah, two different Earths were converging. Yeah.
We watch too many movies.
We've
seen it all.
We've seen a lot of movies. Yeah.
But it's time to change the page and look at some short films. We'll start off with 2023's The Fisherman's Wife. I don't know if I want to pick out a favorite of the week, but this one is plenty weird.
Mm-hmm. How hungry are you?
Written and directed by Jared Watson, stars Kelsey Carthew, Caitlin Riley, and T. Ryder Smith. Little over 8 minutes, and it is on YouTube. All the ones this week are on YouTube. There are links in the usual place. Or, of course, if you are subscribed to HorrorWeekly.com, our weekly newsletter, they just appear right there in your email. You can click on them without even going to a site.
How handy is that?
It is very handy.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's completely free. You just go and sign up, and every Sunday evening, you'll get an email in your box with all the good stuff in it.
I even get those. And I don't object at all.
You know what they say, though.
I do. Yeah.
Well, in this short film, a fisherman wanders the deserted beach, scrounging for whatever he can find, which is mostly garbage. I don't think it's completely clear in the movie, but the description says it's a post-apocalyptic times.
It does seem that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Uh-huh.
He continues on with his futile search until he sees a woman lying in the sand. No, it's not a woman. It's a mermaid that's caught in a net. He carries her home, but she's gasping and having difficulty breathing. He boils water in a pot and pulls out a butcher's knife. No, he wouldn't do that, would he?
Mm-hmm.
Would he?
Mm-hmm.
It's even worse than that.
It's one messed up family.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all very dark and depressing, lonely and filthy. It's post-apocalyptic even, but it's still hilariously weird. It's very ponderous and slow-moving, but that just adds to the oddball charm here.
Yeah, the dad has a daughter who's waiting at home, and they're both hungry.
Yeah.
But they want companionship, too. What are you
Can't
going to
have
do?
it both ways. You
What are
either
you gonna
marry her
do?
or eat her. You can't do both.
Can't you?
Which takes us to The Noise Next Door from 2024. Written and directed by Christopher Cox. Stars James Sanger, Scott Bolger, and Natalie Paulison. 13 minutes, and of course it's on YouTube as well. What happens?
Well, Jay just moved into a new small apartment, and he's not too impressed with it, but he's making it homey. It looks nice. As he talks to his mother, he hears someone bumping into the wall from the other side.
Bump, bump, bump.
Yeah, he knocks on the neighbor's door, and the man inside apologizes for watching his movie too loudly.
Didn't sound like a movie.
No, and the thumping continues. It's clearly not a movie. Well, he looks through his door's peephole and sees a woman crying out in the hallway. But when he opens the door, no one is there. He checks with the neighbors again, and it's not her. She denies it. Well, they have no idea what the sounds are, and they're also tired of being bothered.
It's not us. Quit bugging us.
Yeah. So he calls the apartment manager to report it. He's not about to let it slide without investigating further, and he soon learns that he shouldn't have.
No, not a good night.
Yeah. Well, and, it further complicates it because it keeps getting worse. It sounds like he's beating on her or something violent has happened.
The neighbor's
something
beating up the wife, and she's out there crying.
dangerous, and he thinks that he really needs to help this woman. It's more complicated than that.
It's time for a new apartment.
Oh, it sure was.
From the neighbor's point of view, Jay is just a nut. From his point of view, he's trying to help. We don't know until the end what's really going on. I was waiting for somebody to say, oh, it's that apartment, like they knew. The neighbors across the street, like, this is the 9th tenant that's been like this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, it's nicely paced and fast-moving. It's very well done and all makes more or less perfect sense. And it ratchets up the tension right to the end.
It was a good one.
Yeah, it is. Now, if you want a cringy one...
Yeah, this wins for cringe, for sure.
Eye String from 2023. Written by Javier David. Stars Alina Chenault. Oh, these are probably French people, aren't they? Alina Chenault and Javier David. Jeannie Bollet, Alina Chenault, and Aaron Grant. 8 minutes on YouTube. You can read the credits for yourself because I mangled them badly.
Our apologies.
Veronica talks on the phone, and the phone-in therapist on the other end talks about balance and that she needs to get out more. As she talks, she starts to pull a little hair out of her eye. You've done that. Everybody's done that.
Except it's not just a hair. It's a string.
Pulls and pulls and pulls, and credits roll.
Yeah.
So we're just getting started.
Uh-huh.
Well, she's out driving the car now, and the eye hair is just hanging down the side of her face.
Yeah. Eventually, previously she clipped it off.
Yeah.
And it was just dangling a little bit. Now it's dangling all the way down.
It's back.
Yeah.
She calls her telephone concierge from earlier, but she can't talk to the same guy from earlier. The therapists are all assigned randomly. She decides to go to the store and pick up some eye care products, including scissors.
Mm-hmm.
People really call those phone therapy lines.
They do.
I've seen them advertised. I can't imagine that that's any good.
I understand they're quite popular with a lot of people, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, this one doesn't make them sound very good. Yeah, but nothing's worse than stuff in your eye, except maybe something coming out of your eye. It's well shot and well acted. None of this goes the way you'd expect, which is the best part.
I liked it.
Yeah, I was expecting she'd pull the string, and then her head would fall off or something.
Or the guy comes out with that. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good.
Play or Die, 2025. Directed by Luca Zenzlarini. Written by, I don't know, the credits are kind of funky on this one. Stars Sylvia Berrettini, and it is a little over 6 minutes, and you watch it on YouTube. What happens?
Well, a woman sits alone in her room at night and looks at the Play or Die screen on her computer. After deliberating a moment, she clicks Accept. There's a $1 million challenge, and it's worth the risk for her. She looks at her bank account, and the money is suddenly there. But
they pay first.
She has to follow the rules exactly, or you'll lose it all. The rules say, first, turn off the lights, lock the door, and do not look behind you.
Oh, it's not going to be pretty, is it?
And there's various ones where, she has to, don't look behind you for 30 seconds, and but bad things are happening. It's hard not to look.
Okay, I didn't care for this one.
Well, and
there are
I
rules
agree with
to the
you
game.
Why. Yeah.
The rules to the game, and if you don't follow the rules, you're going to die. And at one point, she breaks the rules, but she makes up for it by doing something else, an additional challenge or something. But in the end, she does follow the rules, and they kill her anyway.
It looked that way, yeah. I mean, she screwed up the once, but there was a remedial thing she did, and
the final challenge, she did it and died anyhow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that made no sense.
They were mean.
But half the short
was a lie.
Was just a black screen.
Too dark.
Yeah, I don't know if we were just supposed to imagine something or if there was something there that we just couldn't see. I mean, it's YouTube. This is not a high def anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was, but we were left to imagine what happened. Sort of saw some shadows moving around, I think. Maybe.
And her face in the blue glow from the screen. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, I can live with the darkness, but the game broke its own rules, which is a cheat.
Both things, yeah.
So, I wouldn't say this one's got too much going for it. 2022, Searchers. Written and directed by Isaac Ruth. Stars Michelle Lukeman, Christine Renaud, and Ash Yap. 12:36, and it is, of course, on YouTube.
And this is one they need to make more of. This left me wanting for more. It's very good, and that's actually mentioned here in the note. The director called it a proof of concept film, and
it's like a pre-credit sequence on a real movie.
I want more.
A woman wakes up from a nightmare of bones. She's asked to search for a missing 6-year-old, and she tells her contact, "This is the last time." So clearly, this is not the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Liv drives out to the Salton Sea, a mostly dead community out in the desert. Saw a sign that said radioactivity. So it's about near those bomb sites.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to see the girl's mother, who is evasive and paranoid about her kidnapped daughter. She tells the story about finding that her daughter was missing one night. How does the little kid go missing out in the desert where there's nobody for miles around? It wasn't the garden variety kidnapper, but it also turns out to be not just one missing kid. It's at least 6. Just this year.
Yes, yeah, her contact didn't mention that part.
So it's one of those what's really going on here kind of stories. It's very well acted and very well shot. The location and scenery here are really good. There's no resolution of the story. Actually, we're really just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
And we're left with a couple of mysteries. As you said, the director called it a proof of concept film. I assume he's trying to get financing to shoot a real movie. And we are both intrigued, but it's not really a story in itself. But we would both watch a feature-length film expanding on this.
Totally would.
Yeah. Hey, that was 5 movies and 5 shorts. We're all out of stuff.
Okay.
Time to watch more.
Yay!
All right, so stop in over at horrorguys.com or horrormonthly.com or horrorweekly.com. We got things for every option.
Yeah, we do.
And until the next week then, I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
We'll see ya.
See ya.